Welcome to Had6 channel. In this video, we will look into orotund. 17 adjectives with similar meanings will be reviewed in example sentences. Let's get started. Number 1. Highfalutin, which means especially of speech, writing, or ideas pompous or pretentious. Highfalutin. For example, the report was cloaked in highfalutin language. Number 2. Bombastic, which means high-sounding but with little meaning. Bombastic. For example, bombastic rhetoric. Number 3. High-flown, which means especially of language or ideas extravagant and grand-sounding. High-flown. For example, his novels seem high-flown and absurd. Number 4. Oratorical, which means relating to the art or practice of public speaking. Oratorical. For example, he adopted a rather oratorical style. Number 5. Rotund, which means of speech or literary style sonorous. Rotund. For example, his splendidly rotund tone. Number 6. Florid, which means excessively intricate or elaborate. Florid. For example, endearments in florid English. Number 7. Rhetorical, which means expressed in terms intended to persuade or impress. Rhetorical. For example, the rhetorical commitment of the government to give priority to primary education. Number 8. Grandiloquent, which means pompous or extravagant in language, style, or manner, especially in a way that is intended to impress. Grandiloquent. For example, a grandiloquent celebration of Spanish glory. Number 9. High-sounding, which means of language or ideas extravagant and grand. High-sounding. For example, high-sounding moralism. Number 10. Ornate, which means of literary style using unusual words and complex constructions. Ornate. For example, ornate metaphorical language. Number 11. Flowery, which means of speech or writing full of elaborate or literary words and phrases. Flowery. For example, his flowery language made no impression. Number 12. Magniloquent, which means using high-flown or bombastic language. Magniloquent. For example, a magniloquent lawyer. Number 13. Tumid, which means especially of language or literary style pompous or bombastic. Tumid. For example, tumid oratory. Number 14. Pompous, which means affectedly grand, solemn, or self-important. Pompous. For example, pompous language. Number 15. Declamatory, which means vehement or impassioned in expression. Declamatory. For example, a long declamatory speech. Number 16. Turgid, which means of language or style tediously pompous or bombastic. Turgid. For example, some turgid verses on the death of Prince Albert. Number 17. Pretentious, which means attempting to impress by affecting greater importance or merit than is actually possessed. Pretentious. For example, pretentious art films. If you have better examples in mind, please share them in the comment section below. It is now the time to hit the subscribe button.